Z News with Gina.
The news with GinaGrad.
A little bit of an update, not much unfortunately, but a little bit on that boat fire here in Southern California. An initial investigation into that boat fire that killed 34 people over Labor Day suggests there were serious safety lapses, including the lack of a required roaming night watchman. That's who's supposed to stay up and stay alert and alert passengers of possible dangers like fires. That's what law enforcement says. There are also questions about whether passengers received a full safety briefing, how the crew was trained. The 5 surviving crew members linked to the worst boat tragedy in recent California history are being interviewed by the investigators, of course. They've said the galley was engulfed in flames. They couldn't get through to help passengers. One of the crew members said he didn't hear a smoke alarm or smell smoke. But he did see the flames, and the cause is still to be determined. One theory they're floating is too many people trying to charge their devices at a time that could have sparked something.
Interesting. So they're all sort of sleeping in one big quarters?
I guess below, yeah.
Below. And there's just one way out.
Right.
And that's where the fire was, I guess.
That's what it sounds like.
God, it's so brutal to die that way. And then also, you're obviously burning alive sitting in a giant pool of water. God. That's the crazy... God, that must have been horrific. It's again, there is no real figuring out life, and that's why we have so many things that I guarantee you, everybody on that ship, now, by virtue of fact that they're going out for a 3-day dive ship, they're all youngish. Mm-hmm. There's not a bunch of 85-year-olds on that boat. Yeah. There's young, healthy, strong people on that boat, right? I mean... I don't know. The average age, I'm not asking you to find this, MaxPat. I'm just saying the average age of someone who goes out on a dive boat, well, people have their 15, 16, 18-year-old sons and daughters with them. But, I mean, the average age is probably in the early 30s because that's what young couples and people do. The middle-aged people in a group, I'm sure there were a couple people that were 63. Yeah. But there were more 22-year-olds. Yeah. And... the average age of the person on that boat was probably 30 who died in that fire. And they're also, if they're people that are outdoorsy and a little bit affluent, they have money to spend on a 3-day dive and the equipment and all the things that go along with that, the certification and everything like that. Those people are health conscious, have some money, and take care of themselves. I will bet you every single person on that goddamn boat at some point when somebody went to go fill a water bottle up for a mountain bike ride from the spigot, they went, no, use the filter. Use the Brita filter. Use the filter stuff. I bet they applied copious amounts of sunscreen in their life. If you're 28 years old, you've been putting sunscreen on for 15 years straight, right? You've been putting sunscreen on since you were 6, right? Sunscreen, filtered water. I bet they all had, all the stuff in life, all the safeties. They were probably, when they're buying a car, they were going, the Volvo has a higher safety rating, and we have young kids, and the kids, when they were kids, they were in child seats. Yep. In the car, in the Volvo that had the higher safety rating. And they were all, their parents were probably looking at boxes going, any GMOs in here? I'll bet you a large percentage of them may have been vegan or vegetarian for like a healthier lifestyle, and whatever. Taking supplements, all this stuff, and then you fucking die 29 in a boat fire. So I'm not saying... be unhealthy, but I'm saying you don't control nearly as much as you control. And you can go out without the sunscreen one day and you can drink some tap water. Yeah. You'll be fine. Mm-hmm. I think the irony of applying sunscreen your entire life and then burning up in a boat.
I mean, yeah, there's things you can control, the sunscreen, the water, the diet, whatever, the exercise, and there's things that are completely out of control, like freak accidents, force majeure, whatever.
I'm saying we do way too much hand-wringing over the Purell and plastic straws and filtered water. Like, it's
And not enough hand-wringing over like an escape route or putting too much electrical circuitry into an outlet.
You're in a boat in the middle of the ocean, and there's shit that can happen.
Yeah. And the owner of the boat said, we've been doing this for 34 years, with a great safety rating. If anybody wants to know what happened, it's me. That guy is really absolutely devastated, of course.
Yes.
So I'm sure there'll be more coming out about that. Speaking of devastation, after a nearly 3-year absence from TV, Billy Bush will make his triumphant return to the small screen, co-hosting Extra. You may remember Billy, right? He got fired from NBC in the fall of 2016 after an old tape with Trump engaging in that famous locker room talk on a bus surfaced.
He got pre-Frankened.
Yeah.
I was always I'm confused about many facets of life. I'm not sure why he needed to be fired. I don't get why he needed to be fired. I get why we're supposed to be pissed at Trump. I don't get...
He got a big promotion.
I didn't get why Billy Bush needed to be fired. First off, you never need to fire Billy Bush because he doesn't do anything. There's no... It's like firing a teleprompter.
Billy, you can stop doing whatever it is you do.
You don't need to hire him or fire him. You don't need to do anything with him.
Yeah.
He sits there and reads stuff to you about the Kardashians.
Yeah.
Okay, but never quite got that part where he needed to be fired. It is so disingenuous. It is so disingenuous when we hold people to these standards, like when they're secretly being taped. And a guy like Trump's bigger than life. And he starts making jokes, and you're the little guy who's trying to shoot a segment with him, and you just laugh it off, hey, that's right, Trump, sir. I hear you, brother. I'm sure he then goes home and says to his wife, what a douchebag. Yeah. But nobody says, hey, that's wrong. Right. Yeah. Take it back. No, they want to get through first off, there's a relationship here. You're needing to do a segment with the person. Mm-hmm. You don't want to explain to them, what you said was wrong, and I want you to take it back. Yeah. You just want to kind of push through it.
You don't want to go back to your producer at the end of the day and be like, hey, what happened to that Trump interview? Well, it kind of fell apart when I told him he was out of line in the trailer.
He's making a joke and you're laughing and you don't know. And also this thing where it's there's no difference between, knowing you're on tape and not knowing you're on tape. That is insane. There's a fucking big difference. Yeah. There is a big difference. And also, I don't buy into it. Oh, that's a genuine look into your heart. You know what I mean? No. I fucking say horrible things about my kids all the fucking time. It's not how I feel about them or anyone. Yeah. Or lots of people. There's a big fucking difference.
The maids.
I have no idea why he needed to be fired. I don't know. Was it 8 years later or something? It was a lot of years later that this thing came out.
He was promoting The Apprentice, wasn't
also, somebody just kind of pulled it out and leaked it. I don't know. What about that? It's not obtained legally. I mean, you can't...
It was unearthed, Brian.
Literally unearthed because no one had ever seen it.
Right.
It wouldn't work in court. You're not allowed to do that shit with court. Cops can't just record people and stuff. I got to tape. It won't work.
Well, and I think Gary said earlier that he knew had a microphone on him, so he clearly knew that they built the microphone could be on.
Yeah, but...
Spend
your life with a lav on you. You'll go up. You'll go to the bathroom. You'll fucking talk to someone at craft service, whatever. You forget about it immediately.
I'm with you on that.
I've been burned.
Well, he does say it's a comeback. It's a relaunch, and he welcomes any questions you have about the bus. You can ask him until Monday. And after that, he's never going to speak about it again.
He has a time limit.
Yeah, because that's when he starts a new gig.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with him. I think I kind of like him. I just don't. Again, like Matt Lauer, if you're unnecessary, you may be dismissed. Yeah. And when we don't need you to come back, but edge everybody. All right, you know what else?
Well, this is pretty interesting. A group of horses that spend their days frolicking on the beach in North Carolina's Outer Banks will not be evacuated during the hurricane, and here's why. There's a very good reason for that. With Hurricane Dorian quickly approaching, the colonial Spanish Mustangs have their own way of riding out these storms. They've been doing it for 500 years. They huddle together, and their trick is they move to higher ground under sturdy oak trees that shelter them from the storm, and according to Corolla Wild Horse Fund. Did not know you were such a philanthropist.
How's that spelled?
C-O. But it's still there, which manages the herd. They say apparently they'll likely ride out the winds and rain as their ancestors did before them in huddles with their butts to the wind.
Corolla's excited.
He added that the horses have been doing this for 500 years. Meanwhile, as far as humans go, more than 1 million people in parts of South Carolina and North Carolina are under mandatory evacuation orders.
That Rolling Stones song, Wild Horses.
Couldn't drag me away.
That's the name of the song, right?
Yes, it is.
See Led Zeppelin?
That's how it's done.
See how it works? They just keep saying wild horses. They just keep saying it.
And that's how you know what it's
when
called.
When you want to request that song, that's how you know. All right, let's do one more.
You got it. Well, in the shadow of Rotten Tomatoes, here's one we might be reviewing and testing in the future. Justin Timberlake going to jail in his next movie role. He has signed on to do Palmer, the new movie from the team behind Green Book. According to Deadline, he'll play a one-time college football star who heads back to his hometown.
I knew it.
Yep.
You know what this is?
No.
I can always tell whenever you get guys to do certain roles. There's the getting jacked role.
Shape, prison shape.
And there's they love boxing movies. They love if you take a look at the average boxer and the average actor who plays a boxer, the actor's much more jacked than the average boxer.
More cut.
More cut, because they just go, oh, I'm going to get paid, and then someone goes, you're going to have a full-time trainer, and he's provided by the way, and you're going to get in the best shape of your life.
I could be wrong about this, but I think it was Jake Gyllenhaal in Southpaw who was like, it looked like a professional wrestler.
Yeah,
he was just
be a pitcher.
No, to be South boxer.
Oh, okay.
He
the
looked.
Movie kind of came and went.
I don't remember.
Physically looked more fit than 95% of boxers.
Well, this is perfect because it marries those two things: football and prison.
I'm telling you,
you have a great point.
Shirt's going to be off.
Tats.
Going to be doing those kind of chin-ups off the bar.
Yeah. Pipes.
Yeah.
So he ends up taking custody of a young boy who was abandoned by his mother after his stint in prison. Justin's been in a lot of movies, of course, Social Network, Trolls.
He's a good actor. He's a legitimate good actor.
Yeah, he has a lot going on.
So he was great in Social Network.
Fantastic.
It's fantastic.
He was the Napster guy, right?
Sean Fanning, yeah.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
Sean Parker? Sean Fanning.
Yeah, Sean Parker.
Yeah, one of the two.
He's great. He was great. Yes, he's a very good actor. He's a very talented human being. We need him.
Agreed.
We don't need Matt Lauer. That's what I'm saying. All right. Sorry. Let's bring it home.
You got it. I'm GinaGrad, and that's the news.
GinaGrad. That was the news with GinaGrad.